Hello again, everyone. Welcome to a transformational Tuesday. Thank you guys always for being here, watching and listening to what we are doing here in One Global Movement and making a contribution. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate you. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, and the One Global Movement Mantle of Hope celebrating Black legacies globally. And so we continue, even though they are located only this month for Black History, but to us, one global movement here, we celebrate Black history and other legacies forever because we are living, thriving, and building on the legacies that others built, particularly Black legacies. So thank you guys so much. Be sure to share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you would not miss out on what we are doing here, helping children, young people, and women defeat hunger, illiteracy, and poverty, build generational wealth while living a life of leadership and purpose. So thank you so much for helping the children in your home, in your communities. And if you can stretch out a hand further than your environment, please do, because there are a lot of children and young people that are going through a lot of stuff that we don't know. And excuse me, I was drinking tea. And until we get closer, we will not know. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's continue to come together to help this population in the world, especially as they are the most vulnerable population. So, celebrating Black legacies globally. And what is the theme for today? The theme is hunger and continuous thirst for education in Black communities. Hunger and continuous thirst for education in Black communities. Remember, one of our mission is to eradicate illiteracy. And so throughout Black legacies, we have seen and we are reading and we are building on what they built. We have seen how they continuously really have that hunger for education. They are really thirsting to read and write, especially children. And therefore, we are encouraging all Black communities, among other communities, but particularly Black communities, to start teaching their children very early on in life, to instill in them the early spirit of reading. Start from the minute your child is born, from the word that you speak to your child when your child is born. That is when it's going to start. So, and education, and more education, like I always like to say, education really paved the way for me. Education gave me that freedom and liberty that I needed. I can not only see, I can not only read, I can not only write, but I can impact others' life with the education. And keep in mind that education here is not necessarily classroom education. Whether you are learning a trade, whether you are in business, no matter what you're doing, so long as that is your life's purpose, that is your gift. That is education, because you're learning and you're building. That is education. Never you let anyone tell you that you cannot impact the world because you don't have certifications. Certifications is just a piece of paper. But if you do not put your purpose in action and high ethical standards in that piece of paper, it is worthless. So whatever you're doing, put your mind to it. Put your eyes on the ball and do it very well, because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your children, you're doing it for your community, and you're doing it for the global village. So thank you guys so much for everything. So like I said, we're going to be doing this thing in a different way, because doing the recordings on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we don't really discuss these topics, and we don't go into detail. So what I would do here is just a short 10 to 15 minutes introduction, so that you guys will begin to think about these topics as we discuss them on the panel on Wednesdays and Fridays. So you begin to think of what you're going to contribute according to your life according to the way of your children, according to children in your community and the young adults. So now I don't know how to read and write, but I will do what I know how to do best so that you can be the eyes, ears, and courier, not only for me, but our family and the village. This is from my mother, Lucy. My mother's name is Lucy. You know, my mother never went to school. She was never educated, and she talks about it till this day, um, not being happy why she could not read and write. And there was a funny time too, when my son was about 3 or 4 years old. My son could not understand why my mom could not pronounce things well, and he would cry, cry, and cry. And he just thought that maybe, just maybe, just positioning my mom's mouth well, my mom was going to pronounce things well. But he did not understand that she couldn't because she never went to school. And so my son said, Grandma, don't worry, I will help you. And so my son went behind my grandmother like this and said, Grandma, say the word, say the word. And my mom, my mom said the same thing. She didn't pronounce it right. My son was so mad, and he was crying and then started beating my mom. And my mom said, I'm sorry, my parents didn't send me to school. And so when my son was around 6, that story what we reminded him, because it was so funny, because children don't know that we adults don't know until they grow up to understand that some of us don't know because we never went to school. And so my son apologized, and then he took upon himself to start teaching my mom. He bought books and he was teaching, making sure that my mom knows how to write her name, sign her signature, and to read basic things. My son was bent on it, and he's still bent until today. He will buy books and he will let my mom do puzzles and crossword puzzles and all of that. And so she's learning, she's improving, and she started reading. She started really reading, and not reading so well, but where she cannot pronounce the word, she asks, but she's doing it. And that is a very beautiful thing that my son did, and I always congratulate him for that. And so that is what my mom said, that I don't know how to read and write, but I will do what I know how to do best so that you, referring to me, the only female child, can be her eyes, ears, and courier, not only just for her, and not only for our family, but for the entire village. And that's what I grew up doing. I was my mom's ears and eyes and that of the village as well. And I would write letters and take them to the post office and mail them out. I became the village courier. And that was a beautiful thing, because my mom was bent that I would go to school. She worked because she knows how to work. She knows how to do marketing. And she was bent on educating me, even against the wishes of my father, not to educate me, but to go into marriage. And even some parents of the village, because they were so scared, they isolated my mom for even trying to educate me when my father chose otherwise. And I highly, highly respect my mom. I love her, and I am bent on doing whatever it takes for her to be comfortable, to be happy, and to be healthy. And then my grandmother told me, because my grandmother was the one who was fighting so often for me against all the bad things that were done to me by my father and my father's wives and children. And so my grandmother said, the child who is determined to win is the child who picks the sticks repeatedly thrown at her, builds on them, and a divine breakthrough will be her blessing to the world. And therefore, my grandmother blessed me with the mantle of hope. From our family, it's been there for more than 500 years. It's been passed down, and you're chosen at the age of 2. And so I was blessed, like at the age of 12, like an initiation into womanhood. And then I was given the mantle of hope to take it to all corners of the world, beginning from our family and our village. And so my grandmother said, take it and go into the world. God has lined people on your path to hold the hand of every woman, every child, and every young person. And it is happening just the way that she blessed me. And so We talk about Nelson Mandela always because he is phenomenal. He did the best. He did the best even under the conditions that he was subjugated into, oppressed, in prison for 27 years for no reason. But he still went ahead to bring peace and reconciliation to the world. He said education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to transform the world. And Malcolm has said that education is a passport into the future. And the future belongs to those who work for it today. The future belongs to those who work for it today, not tomorrow, which means you have to start at this moment because the next minute waits for no one. So let us invest our time wisely in education so that we can help not just ourselves, our children, and our descendants, and our communities. And we talk about Martin Luther King Jr., he emphasizes that intelligence plus character, that is the great or the goal of true education. Intelligence combined with character is the goal of true education. And I can never say something without talking about my one of my favorite mentors, Dr. Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better. That's what she said. When you know better, you do better. To Chinua Achebe, Chinua Achebe is one of the prolific writers in Africa who depicted the activities of the colonialists and said, where the black people, the Africans, were living in peace until the colonial master put a knife in between us and things seems to be falling apart. But together we can rebuild and pick those pieces and build on them and continue to transform the world. So Chinua Achebe's insight is that education is a means of showing a person how far he has already gone, but also how much further he can go. This is so profound. Education is a means of showing a person how far he has already gone, but also how much farther he can go. These leaders inspired us to value and seek education as a path to freedom, equality, and empowerment. Together, their words ignite a passion, that fire, rekindle that hunger for education, learning, and wisdom, and I believe that education is the foundation of a brighter future for all. Education, education, and more education. When we are talking about eradicating hunger, illiteracy, and poverty, especially hunger, you cannot feed a child without teaching that child how to feed themselves because you're not always going to be there to feed that child. Even so, when you keep feeding a child when they are at a level where they can also feed themselves, it therefore means that you are suppressing the purpose and the gift of that child. You have to let that child learn how to feed themselves so that they can also fend for themselves. Otherwise, they will not know. Like my grandmother would say, let the child fall and they will learn how to get up. And we see babies, when babies are born, it come to a point, maybe 7, 8 months, they want to start walking, right? Some babies don't even crawl for that long. They just get up, they want to walk. They're so fascinated to walk, or maybe they want to walk to go to the mom or the daddy, or to go and pick up a toy or something. And then they will fall. It hurts. They will cry, but they will still get up and do it again and again until they start walking. So when we see our hunger, our thirst for education through the lens of a toddler or a baby trying to walk, we will do better. We will do better. Even when we fail, we take that failure as a stepping stone to continue to learn and to grow. And remember, education, learning is a lifelong process. Everybody, especially during our age and time, This is a time of technology where things are getting better and better, and you can learn from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. Instead of scrolling down your smartphone, watching things that are insignificant, you can Google and read biographies of great leaders like these Black legacies or others of your choice that will resonate with your goals and your dreams, and you continue to build on those goals and dreams. So thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, this is an introduction, and we are going to discuss it on the panel so that everybody can have their worldview and their take on these beautiful Black legacies, on the hunger and thirst for education. Thank you guys so much, and I love you all. Bye-bye.